Hi guys, Mr. Jaeger here, and welcome to day 3 of our IAE Expo. I keep calling it the IAE Expo, even though I know E is in the bloody Expo, but still. So welcome back to day 3. Today we are with Aegis Dynamics, a company which has its fair share of, in terms of lore, its professional conduct and amazing style ships, with a bit of a controversial past with them serving the Messer regime originally being propped up. But regardless of politics, they still make some damn good ships, and we'll be having a little bit of a gander at them. So, obviously, the ships in front of me in the main hall, this one being the Reclaimer, is the famous salvage ship, which unfortunately, until salvage becomes a thing, is just no more than a glorified cargo transport. But, let's go see if we can find these things. But, as you can see, the entire exhibition hall is completely filled with all of the ships from the Aegis Dynamics vessel, or cadre. Why do I call it cadre? I can't speak. But no, all of the halls are open with all of the vessels from Aegis Dynamics, or as many as can possibly be fit. So we're going to have a bit of a quick look at the Sabers at the front. We'll save the Reclaimer till last. Then we're going to move left down towards the Vanguard series, heading down further towards the Retaliators, then going into the Gladius with the Hammerhead, before finishing off the whole mini hall tours with the Avengers and, of course, the Redeemer, a very awesome little ship that, I say little, before, of course, heading back to the Reclaimer to have a little bit of a quick tour. So this one's going to be pretty big. This is clearly going to go over the hour one, because I just cannot seem to make small episodes, it would seem. But without further ado, let's get started. Beginning our journey with Aegis Dynamics, we make our way towards a very awesome fighter craft from Aegis Dynamics, the Saber. So the Saber is what I would classify as a light to medium fighter. I kind of consider it more of a medium fighter than a light, but it is quite nimble, and it has, depending on the armament and the way you play it, you could also have it as kind of a light. Its official categorization is Stealth Fighter, which is more applicable to the Comet edition, but really this vessel is more a boom and zoomer. You go into the target, you engage, and when the fight begins to become a little bit more unfavorable, you pull out before you die. In terms of aesthetics, it is absolutely gorgeous. I quite like this particular vessel. As mentioned in the first episode, I did talk about the Anvil Arrow and how I liked the ship, but I think I probably would move on from it. And this is probably where I would begin to look to. So if I can get this ship here during the event, I think I might try and upgrade to this vessel. But we will have to see in regards to what, if the bank will allow it. Oh, it's so depressing. But still, I can't really comment too much about combat statistics or personal experience in a PvP mindset, because I'm not really much of a PvPer. If anything, I'm more PvEer. So, sadly, I cannot comment too much on that line of thinking. But I can at least tell you my experiences from when I last flew it. So, yes, it was awesome. I enjoyed it. I actually felt quite comfortable in that particular vessel. I have to admit, I'm looking forward to flying it again with the HOTAS system. Because holy shit, the Warthog edition, yeah, no, I want that. I want that in my life. It's definitely awesome. So moving on to the other vessel, this one is the Sabre Comet, which is basically, a lot of its components are designed, internal components are basically designed to be stealth focused. So not as much EM signature, not as much power signature, all of that jazz. And the weapons on board are also kind of shit as a result of that. I am not a huge fan of this. I think if you were to buy the Aegis Sabre Comet, you're only buying it for the skin. And everything else you pretty much want to scrap out and put into something else. So, no, I wouldn't say this is worth it in its current configuration and state. Maybe stealth may become more applicable as other ships get released, but we will have to see. But regardless, it's still, I mean, as I said, it's the Sabre frame and chassis, so it does look pretty good. But it just, again, I can't really comment too much about the use of this version versus the other one, because, well, the other one has the better equipment, it's got the better missiles, it's got pretty much everything designed perfectly to be the hit-and-run boom and zoomer, and it also kind of looks a bit better, in my opinion. I'm a bigger fan of red than I am of blue, but blue and black, it does kind of work. But yeah. And so we arrive at the first room. And this one is, of course, the heavy hitters, the Vanguard series. So, the Vanguard series is basically for those who don't play Star Citizen, I'm going to be saying that a lot, by the way, in this series, because this may be your first time coming to the IAE, and you're kind of wondering what the hell I'm talking about. Well, to briefly synopsis the Vanguard series, it's this ship. It's a heavy fighter with access to a size 4 Gatling gun, size 2, no, I think, yeah, no, size 2, like quad, size 2 las cannons, and also a turret on the top with what looks to be now size 2 to 3, I think size 3 MAs, which is pretty cool, and a number of size 3 missiles. This particular vessel is, I would say, the bog standard. This one is the Heavy Fighter / Reconnaissance edition, and as you can see, it's got a rather interestingly coloured interior, is all I'm going to say on that one. So you've got the usual little opening features. There's munitions for when you want to put your las rifles back in. There's a couple of beds for the pilot and the gunner. The gunner can get up into here. The there are various component sections, including this really cool thing, which you open the stairs, and there would be a component, but obviously because it's the showroom model edition, they obviously don't want people to actually do it. So going on into here, you've got all the different cooling modules. Going over into the pilot's chair, we will have a little bit of a whoopsie. So going into the actual pilot's chair of the Vanguard is actually pretty cool. Its MFDs are in what I would call the perfect field of view. Like they're almost just perfect, but enough of I've got visuals for that. And basically what I mean is, if you have MFDs in your field of view, which does not require you to adjust or maneuver your camera, it's my own personal big plus point, which allows me to feel more like the ship is optimized for the particular user. Of course, depending on what kind of system you're utilizing for camera movement and other such things, it may be more or less of a problem for you. I have like track IR, but I often don't use it because some of the time I'm just rolling around in first-person shooting, and I don't really want to utilize a track IR system for that. Now, the weird thing is with me is I actually owned this thing for quite some time, and when I first got back into Star Citizen back in 2018, 2019, I fell in love with this ship. It was one of my absolute dream vessels. It was my initial goal, and I got it, and I was very happy. But then I noticed a particular problem, which is I never stopped flying it. With the exception of ships that required would transport ground vessels, or if I was doing something of a particular set of skills that the Vanguard couldn't do, I just kept flying the Vanguard, and it ended up with me hardly ever using my other ships. So eventually I kind of started getting, like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not really using anything else, and it kind of got a bit stagnant. So that's why I then decided to upgrade my Vanguard package to a Carrack, and thus it meant I had to use other vessels, and this really did me quite a lot of good. So while I won't lie, I'm complaining about a first world problem here. While I won't lie, the Vanguard is a fantastic vessel. It can easily lure you into the trap of, if you're not really a PvPer much, this will be your go-to for a lot of things. And I won't lie, she's a damn good ship for it. The shields are really good, so you'll be able to take a good punch or two. The weapon systems are solid, so if for a new player, this is a really good platform to survive your most contacts in. It works really well. Of course, the current meta may have changed since I last flown it, but at the end of the day, it's a vessel that, for me, I've enjoyed my time with it, and I'm happy to have moved on. Though we will get further afield into a vessel that, if I ever did get a Vanguard again, I'd know I'd go with the other choice. But let's first of all look at the other variants of the ship. The first variant we're looking at right now is the Vanguard Heartbringer, or Harbinger. I can't seem to say the word correctly, but Heartbringer, or I like to call it the Hellbringer. So the Hellbringer is basically a souped up bomber edition of the Vanguard. You've got 4 size 3 quad ballistics with a size 4 quad. I couldn't want to call it quad. Size 4 cannon. Same missile armament as well, but in addition to the missile armament, you also have, going into the internal components, which I'm not going to lie, look a lot better. You also have some size 5 torpedoes. 3 of them, in fact, with a lovely little "with love" on the top. I always love that. But yeah, size 5 torpedoes, really powerful, very potent vessels. Downside of this ship, though, all of the weapons are ballistic, which now, of course, means if you're going to want to engage players with this thing, you're going to have to swap out one of these guns with a laser weapon, because obviously knocking out, because while the cannons may be really good, their ammunition supply is very limited, and as such, it's going to be dangerous to go in. Also, this thing is a fat bitch who just does not want to move. So with all the added extra weight, maneuverability is almost impossible. It's like, I would argue it's half the maneuverability of the Vanguard Warden, and that's saying something. So, great ship, great concept, not the best implementation considering, but it works. It works well enough. It's just, I kind of find, I mean, obviously with the exception of the guns and the other missiles, I always kind of find it funny that my Anvil Gladiator has more size 5 torpedoes equipped than this ginormous beast, and it's still, and yet my Gladiator's more maneuverable. I mean, it's a glass cannon at this point, but still. So this vessel, the Vanguard Hoplite, is a troop transport. Pretty much, that's all I can really say. It's a fat troop transport. It can transport a squad, or a fire team, of, well, 6 individuals. There's a weapons rack as well as supplies. And if we go into the thing, there's still the gunner's crew and everything. But again, it's just a troop transport. Nothing really special. It just does that. Oh no, but still, it's a nice name for the ship. I kind of wish they used the name Hoplite on something a bit more deserving. Because Hoplite, while it does mean strong shielded and all that jazz, I just feel that would be a better suited name for maybe that thing. Because it's got a lance in it and, you know, blast through shit. Whereas this one, maybe Harbinger would be a better choice because maybe it'd be bringing on the death of troops. Who knows? Either way. So moving over to the other side of the room, which I kind of find a bit sad that this particular vessel is the one that is almost looks like it's being shunned, is actually the big meta of the room. This is the Vanguard Sentinel. Basically, this vessel is the law enforcement variant of the ship, and I actually am beginning to quite like the artistic style of the. There we go. I am beginning to like the artistic style of the coloring in this thing, but this also has probably one of the best interiors, in my opinion, for the Vanguard series. So you go up into the particular thing, and you're presented with this cool, dark theme with like technicians platforms and all that jazz. More or less the same interior as the Vanguard Warden, but instead of having just, you know, a really shitty color with a couple of other things, you instead have this extremely cool like glass window with all of the different technical specs. You have an engineering station on here, and then of course the usual array going up to the pilot seat. Now the reason why this particular ship is the more, in my opinion, the better one, and if I would ever to get a Vanguard again, I would get this one, is because it has a toilet in it. No, it's because this vessel has the ability to utilize an EMP as a weapon, which if those who don't know, basically, you can utilize EMP-style weaponry to disable or slightly shut down enemy vessels in and amongst combat. And of course, this being Star Citizen and dogfights, the ability to slow your opponent down or even disable some of his systems is vital and could be the difference between you killing the guy or him being able to get a lucky shot which blows your ship up. So you definitely want to take the opportunity, or as many opportunities, to destroy your opponent. It's also got an attrition as its stock weapon, which is, to my knowledge, the attritions are still freaking awesome, because basically they fire basically how the attritions work is the more shots you put out, the warmer the weapon gets, the more powerful it is. But I won't lie, since the changes have been made to the weapon system on ships, I cannot say for certain if this is still applicable. I'm not really, as I said, I'm not a PvPer, so I wouldn't know if attritions are the big mamas of the day. But previously, when there was no limit on on laser weaponry and all that jazz, it was devastating, absolutely devastating when, they worked. But so there we go. If I was ever to own a Vanguard series, I would own the Sentinel. The Vanguard Warden is a great starter for 10. It has a base, it's a good, solid, reliable fighter. but it's not as good. It's the bare, but it's like the basic edition in my particular opinion. Then of course you've got your I want to fuck everything up and someone with it. I want to be a troop transporter, and that's it. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. I want to be a thing that there are so many other better quality ships for. I want to be the role that there are so many other better quality ships for. And then there is the I am the actual Chad. So there you go. That's my particular notes on those vessels. Damn, this is a very pretty image. I love the artwork they've done for this event. Really top notch. So as we make our way into the large room, we are greeted by the sight of two fairly powerful and two very different mindsets when it comes to utilizing powerful tools. The first is on the right, being the Retaliator, designed to basically act as a bomber / transport, because the main frame of the ship is designed to have modularity, but this particular edition is designed to fuck shit over with a bunch of size 9 torpedoes. The second one, which is to our left, is all about stealth. It's about trying to fly into position, spot the target, neutralize the target, and get out of there before even anyone realizes that they're about to be detonated by a size 9 torp. Very different mindsets, very different designs, but both, actually, there's the one thing that they do have in common, is that they have size 9 torpedoes. So what exactly is so special about these size 9 torpedoes you hear? I hear a random voice in the background asking, well, Mr. Random Voice in the back of my head, that clearly is not a sign of me going crazy. I shall show you. So let's hop on in. So this vessel, I won't lie, really cramped. I've never felt more claustrophobic in this game than I do whenever I walk around this particular ship. Just makes me feel a little claustrophobic. So this is the reason why a size 9 torpedo is just absolutely mental. It is a fucking huge ship. It almost sounds like bloody quantum drives on GG. But no, this thing is mental. Size 9 torpedo, designed to do one thing and one thing only. Fuck over whatever it hits. And it does it beautifully. The Retaliator has 6 of these in tow, and has, in the game lore for centuries, been a solid and reliable choice of bomber that allows you to deploy a smaller ship with capital ship fire of devastation. So there's 4 of them at the front. We go around. But no, this ship feels very claustrophobic to me. It feels very restrictive, and it's not really a ship I am a huge fan of. But regardless, regardless, it is not a bad ship. It's got shitloads of MFDs at the front. These 2 little here. There's some here, and then of course you've got like 3 up here. It's very busy inside this cockpit, but obviously depending on the pilot, you might use a lot of these, or you might not use these at all. To be frank, I've never really flown the. Oh, hello. Oh, it's stuck a bit there. So, to be fair, I've never really flown the Retaliator. I've not actually been... to be fair, I've not even been near one. Oh, there's the cap. You can tell that's the captaincy, because that has a bed. Most of the others just kind of have a little slot in, which is all up there. For the sake of saving time, I'm not going to clamber all around all of the ships, but this one I figured, because of the size 9 torpedoes, you might as well show off some of these things. So, it all goes to the back. There's a number of little access panels and other things which are designed. And then, of course, you have the internal capacity, like lockers, and eventually the back door guns. There are a number of defensive turrets on this vessel designed to keep it alive for as long as possible. But really, this main ship's use is... and there's the docking collar, of course, both up and down. Very versatile. It's just... I don't know. The best way, I just trying to find a way of... Probably should close that in case anyone's wanting to play this, wanting to walk through this ship, and they end up like... I don't want to rent it. I just want to... Oh, fine. I just want to get... Oh, there we go. Never mind then. But no, so this vessel is pretty cool. I don't really have a lot to say on it. It's one of those vessels that has the ability to do some pretty awesome stuff. As I said, it's more of a bomber platform. But eventually, when further down the line we get more releases, this vessel is also going to receive the basic edition, which allows you to transport cargo. And I'll be very intrigued as to what kind of role this ship will play beforehand. Because everyone knows this ship as the big bomber with the size 9 torps. But as that role begins to become a little bit less typecast and a little bit more fluid in terms of what people want to choose, then who knows? Maybe we might see this vessel fade into obscurity, or maybe it might be reinforced by just how damn useful it is with 6 size 9 torpedoes. On the other foot, speaking on vessels, let's now look at this vessel. This, of course, is the Eclipse. The Eclipse is a stealth fighter through and through. It looks like one of the... Obviously, you can... If you're a fan of military jets, you'll no doubt already made the comparison that this vessel is like the F2... like the B1... The F117A stealth fighter, or the B2 bomber. Now, obviously, we're probably going to lean into more being a B2 bomber. But this particular vessel is very much like the bomber thing. Let's just hop into the single seater. It's a single seater, and it pretty much has one job, and one job only. Get in, blow it up, get out, survive. And the problem is, once this ship is detected, it is very difficult to survive in. And I can actually tell you one fairly embarrassing story that I shot down one of these things in a Valkyrie from Anvil. It was glorious. We were doing a mission in... in BSI, we were doing a training op, and a couple of the guys we had a crime stamp. And this guy attempted to blow us up utilizing his size 9 torpedoes, one of which hit the ground, the other one was shot out of the sky, and I think the third one missed. So this guy wasn't exactly doing a great job. So rather than just backing away like any other sane person should have done, he decided to commit against a Valkyrie. And I'm assuming probably his thought process was, I'm a stealth fighter, he's a transport ship, I should be able to outmaneuver him. Oh, no. No, so regretfully for this poor innocent pilot, well, poor stupid pilot, he discovered far too late that no, in fact, you cannot outmaneuver. You cannot outmaneuver a Valkyrie because the Valkyrie will kill you, and we did. And I am proud of having that listed on my on the side of whatever kind of vessel I'm flying in. That an Eclipse fell to. I destroyed an Eclipse in action, which is awesome. But yes, I mean, going on to the technical specifications of this ship, it's got 3 size 9 torpedoes. It used to have Gatling guns, but since they've changed around the weapon system, they've now got 2 size 1. It almost looks like size 1s. No, they're size 2s. Are they size 2s? The other almost looks like a size 1. I'm thinking this is a size 1. Yeah, so size 1 laser weapons, laser repeaters. So really pitiful amount of self-defense. But these things are not designed at all to be... they're not designed at all to be a defensive thing. It is purely... just as a, oh fuck, I need to get out of here kind of deal. So, yeah, no, the Eclipse is all show, but, you know, again, it's a pretty impressive vessel. It's just very much a one-hat pony. One-hat pony, one-trick pony. And another room with another set of ships. This is, of course, the Hammerhead with Gladius in tow. So, quick little talk about the Gladius. So, this, of course, is the Aegis Gladius fighter, utilized in the UEE fleet, despite the company not being officially assigned over, obviously not being the official supplier of vessels to the UEE fleet, but the fighter was so damn good that, well, they thought, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and we might as well keep it. This, of course, is the light fighter known as the Aegis Gladius. This one, in fact, has is quite a popular light fighter amongst pilots. It's also been it's been featured quite a lot in the Squadron 42 trailers years ago when they did that sort of campaign trailer system when Star Citizen, well, CIG were announcing release dates for things before that mistake was made. But the cool thing here is actually I know it's a little weapons rack sort of style. Probably I kind of want to keep this open just because it's like, unless you're looking for it, you actually will not notice it. I remember not actually noticing this for like yonks. But But there we go. So the Aegis Dynamics Gladius, very impressive fighter. I owned this for a little bit of a time before I kind of came to the realization I'm not much of a light fighter person. This is a particular vessel. It's cool. It's really cool. This is basically the design frame that a lot of the ships were... Like this particular, like the new cockpit and everything was kind of designed with the Gladius in mind. It was kind of used as a benchmark. So a lot of things were in there. The MFDs are kind of alright. Like, again, they're not perfect. I mean, again, I will reiterate, this is, you know, not a PvPer here. So I can't comment on how effective these particular vessels are. What I can talk about is the view you get. And it is quite an unparalleled view. Very much like a modern fighter jet. It has some absolutely cracking views, as well as, depending on your armament, some absolutely cracking weapons as well. So I'm just going to hop out of this particular ship. Now, there are a number of variants of this particular vessel. You've got the bog standard edition, and then I think this edition over here is the slightly juiced up Aegis Gladius. I can't remember the name of this variant. Let's find out. The Valiant. Oh, okay. The Gladius Valiant. Basically, it's the same ship, but with a different set of components and a different set of weapons when you start spawning in. So, very impressive nonetheless. It's got some good missile loadouts, as well as the whole overall design. Again, there are some, like there's a pirate variant, there's some other stuff to it. It's pretty cool, but really, after the Gladius initial edition, you're just paying for different skins, weapons, and mounts. Actually, this one has a few size 1 missile mounts, whereas this other one... Is it just missiles, or is it actual weapons? Looks like it's just weapons and missiles. So, again, depending on what you particularly fancy in that regard. Anyway, I can't really comment too much on them because, well, I've owned them for a limited amount of times, but it was very close to when I kind of thought, light fighters aren't ready for me. By the way, holy shit, I love this artwork. Absolutely beautiful. I might seriously want to try and see if I can get that for my windscreen. My border, for God's sake, my background. There we go. And going into the last ship of this room, oh, would you look at that? Artwork, real life. This is the Aegis Hammerhead. This was one of the first, what I would call the dedicated multi-crew ships. Oh, just lost audio for a sec. Now, what do I mean by dedicated multi-crew ships? Well, a lot of ships in Star Citizen, before the release of this particular vessel, you could fly it more or less on your own. And while you could have the benefit of utilizing multi-crew, it wasn't as essential. Now, of course, when this ship came out, holy shit, did it become essential. Because, well, this ship doesn't have any means to defend itself apart from maybe a few missiles without the utilization of a crew. This is, of course, the gunboat, the Aegis Hammerhead. And it is a pretty damn impressive ship. It has 4... on the sides, 2 on the right, 2 on the left, quad-mounted las cannons or las repeaters. You've got 1 Gatling, well, you've got 1 turret on the rear and 1 turret on the top. This is mental how much weapons this vessel has, and it is incredibly awesome. Just call the weapons in. Yeah, they're icons like to get stuck for some reason, which is a bit of a shame. Have a quick look around. We're not going to go too in depth because I've done this a few times before, but at the same time I want to at least get some nice little quick appearances of certain things. So going through, and the design of the ship is actually pretty cool. You can see it's designed more as a military vessel due to its sort of cylindrical nature, quite a lot of airlocks, so in case parts of the ship get sent into vacuum. This does now have functioning dock capacity, so that's the area you would go to when you want to get through to the airlock. And it's a very atmospheric ship as well. I quite like the interior design and the whole mindset and everything. It feels good. It feels really awesome. Anyway, let's go to the bridge, which is possibly one of my favorite parts about this ship. To be fair, there's only really one part about the ship that I absolutely love, which is, of course, if we can get access to it. There we go. One of the bits which is my absolute favorite. There is a lift you can take, but I'm a little bit untrusting. There we go. Here's do. We go, oop, I can't move. There we go. But no, one of my absolute favorite things about this ship is the bridge. So the bridge, in terms of efficiency, not that great, because you don't get any view above you, but you do get a hell of a view below you, and you kind of have the same kind of ship. If you've ever seen the game Halo Wars, there's a cutscene where one of the captains is standing on a glass bridge and he's looking down into... it's just my headset being disconnected. He's looking down onto the planet and he's looking from the spaceship. I have loved the concept of having a ship that allows me to pretty much do this. Looking down onto a planet. It looks so cool and I'm just like, ooh! And that's probably one of the main things I like about the Hammerhead, is it has the bridge from the ship. Oh, God, what was it? Not the Infinity, not Pillar of Autumn. Spirit of Fire. There we go. Yeah, so it's the Spirit of Fire's bridge, which allows us to enjoy the best on that. And it's fantastic. Love it. Anyway, so the Hammerhead, a really good gunboat, really impressive vessel, and one of those ships which, unfortunately, due to current limitations of the game, I think is a little bit underrated now. Is a little bit weak. Let's have a little bit look towards the rear of the ship. It has its own cargo bay as well, so it can easily... Okay, it has its own independent... there we go. It's got engineering side of things, which, as you can see, it looks pretty cool. You can store probably a Ursa, a Cyclone, and maybe... and this is pushing it, maybe a couple of, maybe another vehicle alongside it, but it would be very much dependent on what you're taking. Very dangerous engines, mind you. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why they'd have it open like that. That's the only sort of real problem, because you can see the kind of shit that these things are spouting, and I do not think that is at all good for human lungs. You've got a nice little upstairs towards this point, but to save on time, we unfortunately must have to depart hence to go further afield. But the turret access you have over here, there's different weapon points, there's escape pods, there's a whole bunch of things, which is making this ship really cool. But no, I really enjoy the Hammerhead. It's a very impressive ship, and if you want to play a game, if you want to have, in my opinion, the true multi-crew experience to give people a glimpse into how fun Star Citizen can be, the Hammerhead is probably the ship I would talk about, because you can get your friends, you can tell them to jump on the turrets, you can fly into an asteroid field, and you can have a whole bunch of missions where you're flying around blowing up enemy ships, and all of your friends are basically kicking ass, and you're just sitting back reveling in the awesomeness of your teamwork. You know, really good shit. Love that ship. So we've entered into probably the better, if not the best room in the hall right now. Why? Because we have one of the nicest sights to see. The Aegis Redeemer. Oh, I'm so excited. So, yes, we will get to the Redeemer in a second, but I do want to talk about something fairly important. Something that I feel every new Star Citizen player should be made aware of, or any new particular... people who are new to this game and want to learn about this particular game's quirks and features. So, when you start hearing... when you're looking into Star Citizen, and you ask the very famous question, what ship would you recommend for a new guy? Almost every player you speak to will say the Titan. And what they mean by this is the Aegis Avenger Titan. It is the best starter ship in the game. I say this with confidence. I say this with bravado. The only thing I will now say on top of all of this is that there is another ship which is tying for the lead. But I feel that that ship... some of the things that you can do in the Nomad, which we will get to when Consolidated Outland comes out, we will talk about that in detail. But all I will say is that the Nomad makes some choices that might make it more difficult for a new player to get and understand, and also due to the fact that it has more of a Xeno-esque style tech, it may make it more difficult for a new player to get used to it. So this is, of course, the first real starter ship, in my opinion, and as such should be the ship that everyone should play, or at least fly for a while. I own one. I fucking love it. And it is a ship that never ceases to fail. Never fails to be awesome. Englishest words I can try and use. So anyway, what exactly is so special about this ship? Why do I sing the praises of this ship so much? Well, I can give you a list of a number of things. First, on the exterior, you may have noticed we've got both ballistics and we have lasers. This means that the player who is new to the game has a decent cross selection of weaponry and can learn the differences between ballistics and energy. Second, these are all gimbaled. These basically mean, for anyone who hasn't played Star Citizen, that the guns will automatically track the target within a certain field of radius, giving you the ability to not really have to worry too much about going intense with the dogfighting. You can kind of get away with a bit more in terms of combat. The third, this ship has missiles, specifically size 2s, but still missiles. And these things will introduce the player to having a missile selection inside their thing. So we've got two different types of firing weapons. Missile systems, the weapons are all gimbaled. What else is so special about this vessel? Well, if you hadn't already noticed, it looks like a plane. So anyone who's familiar with flying games and other such will feel more comfortable and will understand the mechanics of taking off and landing a lot better if they're in a ship that looks more like a plane than it does if it looks like some kind of other alien style ship, which may make it a bit difficult for someone who isn't experienced in Star Citizen to land. And here's the next, and probably in my opinion, the biggest, most important point in the entire argument. This ship has a cargo bay. Now, for lots of new Star Citizen players out there, you may not find the concept of rolling into combat and for your first few missions to be all that appealing. And as such, you may want to do something like a delivery mission, a transport mission, or you just wanted to have the means to take something fairly big and put it into your cargo bay. Well, this ship comes with a nice 8 SCUs worth of cargo room inside, which allows you to explore the world of Star Citizen from the comfort of a very easy and to understand system. It's a fucking cargo bay. I can't really say too much more in praise of that. Another reason why this ship is amazing, it's got a bed. Like the Aurora in RSI day, having a bed is really vital because you can land somewhere random, you can log out of the bed from the ship, and once the persistence and other stuff starts coming through, this bed will be vital in order to allow your character to survive and come back into the game and be able to do some pretty awesome stuff, which is really nice. Finally, heading over to the cockpit, we can display a number of cool features which makes this vessel absolutely awesome for new players. So, once again, we have the F-18 actually more F-16 style cockpit with its different MFDs, highlighting all of the different options, like certain things like power, comms, and other shit, which you can select and be able to interact with. You also have a fantastic amount of field of view in your cockpit with this nice bubble effect. So whenever you're flying around, you can be able to maneuver this vessel fairly well without having to think about maybe hitting something or clipping something or anything that might potentially be a danger to yourself. And also, you have the ability to get out of the ship from the front as well, which is pretty cool. All in all, all in all, the Aegis Avenger Titan is a ship that if someone talks to me about wanting to get into this game, and if they're not sure, I point them in this direction. The biggest downside is that it's not the cheapest package. In fact, it's possibly, I think it's like close to being 100 quid. I think it's like 90-ish quid, depending on if there's like a sale or something going on. So yeah, that's the big crux, which really sucks. It is available in-game for, I don't really know how much in terms of in-game currency, but it is available for you to purchase in-game with in-game cash, but it does take a while to get to. And I feel that if you are able to make an investment, you could possibly buy the game and then upgrade to it later on. So yes, you're spending a bit of money, but to be fair, if you're going to get into this game, you find this game to be exciting. This ship, if you buy it straight up with this ship, you're golden. You won't ever have to buy another ship ever again. You could just spend the money that you've spent to get this ship, and you never have to touch anything else ever again, because this ship will get you started. Then, of course, it's down to you what the investments you want to make, but this ship is definitely by far the best choice in that. So, I've rambled on about this particular vessel for a very long time. Let's talk about the other variants. This one is the Stalker. This one is very similar. The only difference really being is that instead of having a cargo bay, you instead trade out the cargo bay 4 pods. These are basically little pods that you put your prisoners inside to, and it helps when it comes to bounty hunting, which is pretty cool. So let's do a hop, skip, and a jump to the other side. So the snazzy edition with the horrible paint job is the Avenger, like a Titan XL edition, basically. It's got like a few better components, a few better weaponry, but that's pretty much it. Pretty much, yeah. Titan Renegade, there we go. So you're buying a skin, really nothing too impressive. This vessel, however, this one's kind of interesting. See, this vessel is, you know, from the front, it looks like a bog standard, you know, Avenger Stalker edition with the different weapons. But if you come to the back, you'll notice something. Oh, hello. So this is one of the few vessels in Star Citizen that has its own EMP generator. And as you can see, it's a pretty potent one. It's actually so powerful that, in fact, there's actually a trailer where someone is able to shut down a series of grid squares. Now, obviously, that could be for cinematic effect, but the general consensus here is that this vessel is a giant EMP field generator. Now, the disadvantage, of course, is that you can't really get in the ship in the back, but you can at least get into... at least you can fuck over a number of larger ships with its EMP blast. This ship being named, of course, as the Warlock. So quite a lot of different variants here. This one is effectively the same ship as before, but, you know, it's a Titan with slightly snazzy colours to that. So, as said, the Titan series, the Avenger series is a very distinctive, but also very noob-friendly class. And I think if anyone ever wants to get into Star Citizen, they could never go wrong with an Avenger Titan. It will do you proud. It will sing. I sing its praises every day. It is my favorite starter ship. It is the only starter ship, in my opinion, that really should be glamorized. There is, of course, the argument of the Nomad, and I will go with further into that, but I would rather talk about the Nomad when the Nomad is available, when CO, Consolidated Outland, is available during their day. But that's the only challenger to that throne. But it's a very... They're neck and neck. They're neck and neck, but I would say the Titan still kind of wins out just because of its design frame. So, we are on the wind-swept plains of Calliope. I have attempted to get into the internals of the Redeemer, and unfortunately, we couldn't get into it without attempting to rent it. So I thought, fuck it, rent it, let's have a look. So, here is the Redeemer, an absolutely beautiful vessel with an array of firearms and just all things gun. It is a beautiful ship. I love it. It's good. It's very, very good. So rather than stand outside and freeze to death, as like my character appears to be, and also getting knocked around, I got smacked into the side of the fucking ship when I came out. I almost died, actually. If it wasn't for the fact that I had medipens on me, I think I would have actually died. So let's get inside and wrap up warm. So the moment the... so that's open and closed, right? So how do you close this? I think that's... Oh, no, it's functional. So there's the rear entranceway. So as you can see, you enter into the internals, and you're actually treated to the crew quarters, first of all. You've got room for 4, obviously for the 4 crew members that will man the different guns and all that. There is a slot for cargo, which you can put in, which is pretty cool. There's obviously the important shit shower, the only reason why you'd want to have one of these. And in true Aegis Dynamic fashion, the toilet is hidden. You actually have to find it like so. Voila. And la toilet is ready to go. But yeah, these act as not only the bed crew quarters, but also as the escape pods should the shit hit the fan. You also have the wardrobe, which has all of the essentials. Obviously, this is a lot more interactable as well than other stuff. And the ship has its own storage means as well, which is really, really cool. So the vehicle itself has like 1,500, which is pretty cool. So if you wanted to store stuff into it, there you go. Let's see if we open this. What does this do? There is a button and something just opened. I have no idea what. There is also a fridge, which you can actually open up and grab food if you wish to store food inside it, which is pretty cool. At the moment, I don't think there's too much use of it at this point, because I don't think I'll be doing many big, long trips in that regard, but still, pretty cool. Oh, I know what it was. It was that thing, wasn't it? Yeah, it is. So, the crew quarters. It's really cool. I like it. And it supplements the sort of the mindset that it's not really a troop transport, it's more of a gunship now, which I think they made the right call going into a gunship. So now let's go onto the deck with all of the fancy schmancy stuff. So this is kind of where you could still kind of consider it a troop transport, a small one at least, because there are some seats and some slots and the storage as well, though I don't seem to be able to access this particular line. But there are seats you can choose, and then there are component rooms, whereupon if you wanted to gain access to all of the components that are yours, such as the shield generators, the batteries, power plants, coolants and all that, quantum drives. This ship's got it all. It's freaking dope. I love it. It's really awesome. Close that down. And go forwards. There we go. Anyway, entering into the main thoroughfare. More components if you want to see life support, gravity generator. There is apparently a lavatory generator. Just randomly generates the toilets to be thrown into your opponent. No, so there are some functionalities. There's also a turret access in here, which is really cool. I've yet to figure out how to get onto one of these turrets. There it is. Yep, there it is. There be the button. At least I think there be the button. So I assume we would approach it from this angle. And then you would somehow approach and get into it. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm stupid. There you go. Enter lower turret. You'd enter lower turret from here. And there should be an upper turret nearby. Which should be manned. Unless that's something further along. I have to admit, I've not taken this out a lot. This is me relatively new to this ship. There is a couple of remote turrets to the side as well, which can be manned by the crew. But the lower turret is there, but there's also a larger turret up above. I'm trying to remember how best to access this said upper turret. Is it up here? Yes, there it is. So you would access the turret. So not only is it components, but there's also upper access turrets. The two turrets on this ship are with new Gatling guns as well, with the very, very nice levels of firepower. But even if you don't have access to a multi-crew friends and all that jazz, this ship does have a pretty nice array of firepower. The main strength of this ship is that one cool factor about the ship is that if you are utilizing the ship without robot-assisted gunners, all of the guns, including the remote turrets, will. Oh yeah, it's an amethyst stone. All of the remote turrets, as well as the main guns, will also fire, which is pretty cool. Going on into missiles, we have a bunch of size 2 Strike Force 2s, 16 of them to be exact. This thing is dope as all hell. As you can see, but hang on, if I go into the... Oh, that's cool. So if you swap between the two. So yeah, on the underside of wings, they all come out and they're all like menacing, which is pretty cool actually. Not gonna lie, that is actually pretty cool. So yes, this ship is absolutely devastating. Hop into the turret actually, and I can't shoot it sadly, but I will definitely see if I can get into a point where I might try and take this thing off and have a gander at it, but no, the turret on this thing looks really nice. And it's a solid, reliable ship. Right, enter upper turret. Let's have a look. I'm mainly going to this particular plateau so that it's a flat enough area to land on, and I can muck around with the... There we go. Looks like a pretty standard turret array. Right, increase sensitivity, decrease sensitivity, exit, fire mode. Turrets, yep, there's the power. Nope, oh, for fuck's sake. There was a power button right next to the other button. Oh, okay, that's not bad. That is not a bad turret display. But still, this is really awesome. And yeah, I own this vessel. I'm very happy to own it, especially since now it's turned into a gunship. So if I ever work with a small crew, this definitely feels like a ship you can work with a small crew with. Like this ship, It doesn't have a lot of cargo-wise, but if you want to provide escort for ground-based transport, this is it. This is definitely it. I also love the slightly faded yellow yellow paint on the line. No, I like this ship. I like this ship a lot, and I'm very happy to have this in my collection of vessels. I don't think I'll be getting rid of this one for a very, very long time, if at all. So there we go. I'll take you now back to the show. I'll take you back now to the showgrounds. So here we are in the main room one last time for today. We are looking at probably the largest ship in our particular room, which is of course the Aegis Reclaimer. So the Reclaimer is a ship which at the moment doesn't really have that much of a use, but it was the first, like, well, it was dubbed as one of the largest ships in the game. And as you can see from all of that stuff, it is mental just how huge this vessel is. So for those wondering how exactly, well, what exactly is the point of this ship? Well, this ship is known for salvage. Now, salvaging, let's see if I can get on this ship. No, I don't want to rent it. I want to turn the engine on. If I stand here, does that give me a chance to turn? Yep, there we go. Call the elevator. So the Reclaimer is designed as a salvage ship, where basically the game Loot Play Loop, which is yet to be introduced into Star Citizen, will have all of the new, will have basically all of the ships when they're destroyed leave a sort of remnants of things. Oh, hello, looks like this ship's got its own, looks like the ship had its own particular things. There you go, I've let you go. Come on. Free, oh, okay, you want to be on the ship? You want to be on the ship, cool, okay. So this particular ship is designed with the concept of rolling around the verse, salvaging all of the different things. So let's have a look at salvage processing. We won't go too intense into this thing because obviously I am fully aware that this particular episode will take fucking ages. So I'm going to kind of do a bit of a quick thing. There's like a cargo bay for all of the salvage. There's the underside of the salvage room. And there's like a habitation room. There you go, there's the salvage thing. That must be habitation. That might be the habitation. Yeah, that's habitation. I have to admit, I've not been in this vessel too many times, but it is still like, gives me alien vibes looking at this place. I mean, I think if there was a definite theme that this ship was having, aliens, like the Alien films would definitely be a very, very strong vibe. So the concept of this ship is that you would fly around into an area where there was a space battle, pirate raid, all sorts of things, and there's basically now a bunch of destroyed debris just hanging about, causing problems for the local traffic, and your job is to go in, make it clean, make it look nice, and be on your way, effectively. The salvaging is a thing that in the game is so wanted by the community. It is the thing that has been delayed for years. It has never quite, how do I describe it? It's always been a thing that's been waited. We've always wanted this feature. It's been so long, and the Star Citizen is big. I think the CIG are now finally getting themselves into a position where they can finally give us salvage, which is going to be a big boon. Very big boon. We now have docking at least, so now this docking collar kind of can work, which is pretty cool. But again, this game has this ship has alien vibes. I mean, you've got leaky, leaking from pipes. The atmosphere is very dark, very dreary, very similar to Ridley Scott's Aliens film. The walls look a bit tatty, exposed cladding and pipe work. There's the crew quarters, which, if we enter into it, it looks all bleak and kind of shit. Salvaging is not a job to be proud of, is the general vibe you get with this. You know, this is something that you've not done quite so well in life. You're not exactly doing great, but, you know, you've got a stable enough job. You know, you're running into sort of things. Stain on the shower. You know, things aren't great, but you know what? It's fine. You've got a shower. You've got yourself a job where you can get some money. Maybe you'll be able to save up enough and join a real crew. Maybe get into like an 890 jumps job. You know, Origin are hiring, but you know, they're expensive. Got the captain's quarters. And again, this is all kind of like the fog and the atmospherics. You really do feel like you're watching a sort of 1970s, 1980s kind of sci-fi film, but grunge, like post. And of course, if this ever shouted alien more than ever, then you've never seen the film, and you have to. It's a fucking amazing film. How have you not seen Alien? Unless you're underage, in which case, of course, you haven't seen that film. If you have, I would be concerned. And there's another docking collar is here as well. So this docking collar actually is now functional, which is pretty fucking dope. Not entirely sure if it's going to be 100% perfect, but, you know, it does the job. Sort of go into the desk, and eventually where the Xeno would come out of some poor bastard's chest. I'm good at the moment, so we won't really eat anything from here. And as we enter into what clearly would be the location for where all the people get murdered, the lighting is just perfect. I love it. And this, again, this was the ship that was available. This ship was was released years ago, and it used to be the largest ship in the game. And then, unfortunately, fucking Origin Jumpworks decided to come in with their sodding yacht and ruin that experience. So, unfortunately, for a very long while now, we've been stuck with Origin being the largest ship in the game. There's the gravity generator, which is pretty cool. At the moment, he probably doesn't need to have it on because we're on a planet with its own gravity, but yeah, still. There's a like turret access, so it's very big, bit of a complicated piece of work, but there we go. Now we're going to make our way. Oh, I almost fell. Can I? Yep, there we go. So we are going to gently make our way down. Oh, it was a bit of a long ladder. There we go. And now we're back, sort of accessing some of the components, some of the remote control, remote turrets as well. So there's like a defense mechanism should the ship come under assault. It does have weapons to defend itself, but obviously it is a salvage ship. It's not really designed to do anything overly dramatic. Fortunately, my frame rate is dying a bit today, sadly, but here it is, the bridge. So it's very complicated. I would say complicated, but you know, it's like it's very, it's a very in-depth place. And oh, wow, holy shit! I'll be honest with you, I've never flown this ship, and God help me if I ever did. I don't think it would. I mean, geez, it is a fucking huge ship. Like seriously, as much as the the Origin Jumpworks is in technical specs the largest ship in the game. I don't think I've been on the Origin, like I've been on the 890 Jump so many times thanks to the mission for the the first person like raiding mission. Where's the button that allows me to go up? Because this is clearly a lift. Unless this is not the lift, and in fact this is the receptacle for the lift. Because I'm a spazwad. Thank you, Arrow, for pointing. Yeah, there we go. I was like, this is clearly a lift. Immediately realizes it's not a lift that we should actually can use, because that's what it's supposed to be. There we go. Right, let's get our way back up to the main deck. Whereupon we can exit this vessel. But no, as I was saying, I've been on the 890 Jump, and yes, it is technically the biggest ship in the game. And yes, there are, you can see how big it is. But this ship, I know it's not as big as the other ship, but this ship feels bigger. It feels like you're making a massive journey to get from one side to the other. Like this is in my opinion the biggest ship in the game. Sadly, not a technicality due to officially, but it just feels big. It feels like when you want to go somewhere, you're gonna have to plan out your journey. When you want to get to the cabin, you have to know where the hell you're going, because it's easy to get lost. And you can easily find yourself spending forever trying to get from A to B. The hallways are so depressive and other stuff, and I can easily imagine myself doing something like this in if I wasn't part of BSI, and if I was part of the if I wasn't part of BSI and I was just an independent salvager crew, I would seriously be just one of these guys, just rolling through, getting salvage done, being part of a crew. Maybe if I was lucky, I could be a captain, but really, it's just about, you know, the everyday sort of thing. And so we're looking forward to seeing this becoming more of a useful ship. At this moment in time, salvage is not a thing. There is no salvaging to be done. The gameplay loop doesn't even have a ground zero perspective at this moment. CRG have been talking about it, but until I see any gameplay footage of this particular thing, we don't really have any solid ground, like points for like, oh yeah, this is the ground zero on how to like mold shit together. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing gameplay. You know, CRG can talk about what features they're going to have, but like with all of their videos, everything's a work in progress. They may decide to go for one option where you can hand grind a bit of scrap metal into something pasty, but then when it finally comes around to it, they find getting the ore cutter to turn it into salvageable scrap is going to be the better option. So we will see. But all I will say is that this ship, in my opinion, is the biggest vessel in the game. If not in if not in statistics, it is in soul. And so we come to the holographic deck once more, and we present ourselves to the new ships that have yet to enter into the verse. I say new. They've been around, like, they've been in concept for a while, but they are due to hopefully come in. This, of course, is the Nautilus, and as you can see, we're actually getting quite a lot more details. Originally, it was just grey box, but now we can definitely see different weapon designs, different concepts. I'm looking forward to seeing what this vessel will actually do. For those who don't know, this is a mine-laying specialist, like a mine-laying Corvette-style ship, designed to drop either mines, obviously, or drones as well, which is a nice little concept. In terms of looks, I'm not a huge fan of the rear side of the ship, but it looks alright. I mean, I'll probably have to see it in action before I can 100% say yes or no to it, but its initial design looks pretty damn cool. Just, you know, the only things I'm not a huge fan of course, is its main functionality, which is, of course, its two pillars. But again, my opinion and all that jazz. But still, really cool. And again, not what I was something I would go for. It's not my main shebang. I mean, having a capital class ship is nice and all, but in my experience, I don't think I'll have much use for it. If anything, I'd just be like, I'll lend you one. And then I'll like watch my ship. Just remember which ship gets the glory if you get the kill. But yeah, no, it's all right. It's definitely an all right sort of thing. So going on into the other ship, which I'm actually kind of more excited for, is the Vulcan. Now, the Vulcan is a logistical ship. It's designed to both repair and provide fuel, equipment, and other sort of utilitarian supplies to the fleet. And it looks like they've entered into different grey boxing, which is all right, actually. Not all of the details are there, sadly, so we can definitely tell this is further back in design than the Nautilus, but this was something that was announced not that long ago. It's got VTOL-style thrusters, what looks to be like a cargo bay or a bay that it is carrying, which will obviously house some kind of repairable equipment. But yeah, it is very nice. It says medium repair and medium refuel. I'm pretty sure you can probably do both at the same time. You know, this is one of those logistical ships where you will have someone fly alongside the fleet, maybe in an invasion, maybe in some kind of other thing, and it will be pretty dope. It'll have all of the means to, in a sense, kick ass, take names, and chew that ever so fine. Bubblegum. But yeah, no, it's a very cool looking holograph. Not gonna lie, this is a very cool holographic, and I'm more excited for the repair. This is how sad I am. I'm more excited for the repair ship than I am for the capital ship. I mean, that's me in a nutshell, but yeah. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much it for the IAE Aegis Day. We're finally on the correct day. And yeah, I'm having a huge, I'm really enjoying this event so far. And if you like this event, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, clicking on the like button, and of course subscribing to the channel. And I hope to catch you in the next episode, whereupon we'll get to see more vessels, more ships, and I get to express my very limited knowledge and experience in build. No, I'll get to express my opinions on the various ships, and I like to hear what you think as well. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. This is Mr. Jaeger, signing out.